Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection. And we have a very, very special guest today joining the ranks, none other than Greg Hart from Cats in Space.
Howdy doody. Hi, guys.
You're back, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, very good. It's very hot here today, but yeah, no, all good. It's just been a hectic time, but yeah, stress levels have been a bit high for the last few months, but we're okay now, getting there.
Yeah, it's hot here in New York too. Oof, no good. I'm ready for fall, guys. I mean, I love the summer, but man, this summer's been brutal. Well, what better way to start the UK Connection than to talk about beverages? So, Greg, before we get started talking about this wonderful new album, what are you drinking today?
I only drink very weak lager, and everyone always takes the mickey out of me because I don't drink strong lager, so I just can't handle it anymore. So I just drink Bud Light normally. Bud Light, maybe an Amstel, but yeah, Bud Light tonight. It's a Bud Light night, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, Greg, I will say I'm with you with drinking the lighter stuff because I can't handle the really high octane beers anymore, but Bud Light, oh good.
Two headbanger, you know. I get really bad hangovers if I drink strong lager, but I drink Guinness in the winter, which is really nice. And then I drink just weak lager in the summer, maybe the odd pina colada.
Hey, nothing wrong with good pina colada. I like that. Very good.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Simon and Steven are going to put us both to shame today, I'm sure. So, Simon, what are you drinking today?
Yeah, weak lager. Okay, it's a good job. I like the album, Greg. Yeah, I have gone all the way to Glasgow for the beer today. I know.
Oh, no.
How exciting is that? From the Drygate brewery. I've got a double dirigible, which is a peach and raspberry smoothie IPA. What the fuck was going through my mind when I bought this? Oh, I know. It was in the reduced section. No, I don't like peach or raspberry, to be honest. So this will be fun, won't it? I'm excited by this. Yeah. And also, excitingly, Peter, I've got a special glass tonight. I've got a special glass.
Look at that. Okay.
Tap Select, which is a bar in Oswald Twistle.
What was that again?
That's not easy to say.
Oswald Twistle. Got it?
Oswald Twistle?
Brilliant. Well done. Yeah. Outstanding.
We drive through regular.
Yeah, it's near Blackburn. Blackburn. Yeah. So I'm going to open it. I'm going to pour it off camera, and it's also 7.3%.
Oof. Yeah, those milkshake beers are pretty potent.
Yeah, so yeah. I'll let you know. So I might be sleepy snoozing soon.
All right, let's head up to Scotland. Stephen, what do you got?
Well, I'm checking to see what I've got. It's only 5%, so I'm not quite on the weak lager, but not far away.
It's not far from you, Greg. See that? Look at that. You're not the only one today.
So I've got, this is perfect for a Scotsman to say. Somebody in the comments is going to love this, because I've got a Cromarty Brewing Red Rocker Red Rye IPA.
That's a lot of ours.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Nice bottle as well. I like all this detailing things on it. And yeah, I'm a wuss. I've pre-poured. So here we go. In my dog of two head glass today.
Nice. Very cool.
Nice. That's a good glass.
Yeah, it's a really good glass.
We approve.
All right. So the missus and I went to one of our favorite local breweries last weekend. And I brought some home because that's what we usually do. So, and I apologize for the crappy generic can. They don't put it in anything too interesting. But it's Hudson Ale Works is the name of the brewery. It's in Highland, New York. And this beer is called, I don't even remember exactly what it's called. They didn't write the full name. It's like a session hazy IPA. Okay. And Greg, I probably have the lowest ABV beer of the four of us today, 4.2. So I think this even beats your Bud Light.
No, but mine's about 2.8 or something.
Is Bud Light really that low? I thought it was like 4.4.
No, I think it's pretty low. It's so weak you can't get out the glass.
Wow. All right.
I think the Bud Light is probably even less strong than the iced tea that you normally drink, Peter.
Well, it's close. Yeah, it's close. So Simon, I'm curious to see what that milkshake beer you're drinking looks like.
Certainly looks like an ice cream.
Looks like an ice cream. Are you going to show us?
No, that means he's not going to show us.
I don't even think he wants to drink it at this point.
I've done a Peter.
Okay.
It's all head and no beer.
Ah, okay. Well, look at that. Look at that.
Wow.
That looks good.
It's not bad, right?
That looks good.
It smells a little piney, lots of citrus, and yeah,
I quite think
it's
I'd
got
like
this
that
like
one,
tangerine, grapefruity thing going on. Good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. All right. So, cheers, everybody. And Greg, thanks for coming on to the show today.
There it is.
No problem.
That's perfect, Simon.
That's pretty good looking, Simon. That's good.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I just went like that off camera.
Okay. Shave that head right off, right?
So all over window now.
All right, so we brought Greg on board today because obviously there's a new album that just hit the shops. I was going to say, Steven, thank you, because I haven't gotten my copy yet, so I only have the promo still. But look at that artwork. Andy outdid himself once again, did he not?
He did. The boy excelled. Yeah, that's the one. The bootleg Bandolero artwork. That's actually, I've got the framed original of that now. I had to buy it off him, but yeah, I own that one with the scarecrow now. Here we go. Look, come on, take the colours out, chaps. What
the whole
colours you got
thing,
there?
absolutely stunning. Honestly, so cool.
Your one will be coming, Pete. We'll send yours out if it's not on its way already.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit, it's a little far to get over here. That's okay.
No, we'll send it over. I think they're on it. Don't worry, we'll get it out to you. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
It is a thing of beauty. Absolutely.
So it's called Kickstart the Sun. Look at that.
It is
Colored vinyl and everything. Jeez, that's impressive.
marbled vinyl, in fact.
Yes, indeed.
So Greg, I mean, you guys obviously put a lot of stock in packaging and artwork and design, and that's, you know, for a lot of bands, that's kind of like a dying art. So why is that like so important to you guys to make sure when a new album comes out, it looks like, I mean, all these albums that you guys put out are stunning. I mean, how important is that to you as a band?
Well, thanks for that for a start. But yeah, it's it's the whole thing, isn't it? You the way that the band is, and you know, we all know what Cats in Space is all about now. You know, we go back to like the 70s and early 80s type thing. So if you're going to do that, you've got to have all your product and all your branding and all your merchandise to tie in with it. Otherwise, you're sending out mixed messages. So I've always wanted good artwork. So I couldn't stand it when it went into the 80s. After about, I don't know, 82, 83, it was only like Iron Maiden that were actually doing really mega album sleeves and Man of War and people like that. But the sleeves seem to go really boring and, you know, very generic and all similar. So yeah, we just want to keep making sure that, you know, the message we send out is that this is old school, proper artworks, Roger Dean, Rodney Matthews, all that kind of stuff. And I want to see our stuff packaged to suit the music. If you're going to make grand music, you've got to have grand packaging as well, or it lets it down, you know. So it's, and we're very fortunate, obviously, with having Andy Kitson and Stevie Bacon, who does all the digital stuff, and myself. You know, we're a very good trio. We kind of, you know, lucky we've got a fair bit of talent going on there, so we can get things done.
Cool. Well, I noticed something today which I hadn't really picked up on before. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong here, okay, but you look at the spines on these, okay? You look at these, and then you look at the spine on this beautiful new one that's here, okay?
Yeah.
And then people might have noticed I'm a bit of a Kiss fan, and you pull out something like Destroyer, and you'll notice that the Kiss albums from the Casablanca era do exactly the same thing. I love this.
Simon, am I wrong? You and I would probably would have never noticed that, right?
Well, my cat has come up to answer the question for you. This is Narnia, named after Day Trip to Narnia. She's over a year old.
Nice.
And she's a bloody pest. Bear with me. She's on the window ledge now. Yeah, well, see, this I kind of made a rod for my own back. I painted myself into a corner because back when I formed Harmony Factory, the label, with my partner Marty years ago, 2007, for my first solo album, as it was, called Heartless. We called it Harmony Factory just for kind of, it sounded like a good name. And bearing in mind, this was only going to be a one-off album on this one-off Harmony Factory label. So I spoofed what was Mercury, Casablanca, and Vertigo, where they put blocks in between the name and the titles down the spines. If you look at any Thin Lizzy album, that would be, well, Fighting, Jailbreak, Johnny the Fox, not Live and Dangerous, etc. So I thought, we'll just do that for a laugh. So it kind of stuck. So when I did the Maritz album, and we repressed that, I thought, well, that's going to be Harmony Factory 2. I've got to keep everything current. So I'd made the branding then. So it went on from there. So I wasn't really expecting just to go down that route by now, but we're stuck with it. But I do like the fact that when you put our albums and you see the spines in a row,
We're all the same.
it looks like the same as Kiss or Thin Lizzy and that kind of thing. So another homage. I'm a terrible homager. Yeah, there you go. The only one that lets it down is Scarecrow. Scarecrow's the only one that lets it down because for some reason I was forced into upping the type size of the spine because they said it was too small, and I knew it weren't because we'd done it on Too Many Gods. But I kind of buckled and made it bigger. So you'll notice that the spine font size of Scarecrow is much bigger than all the other albums because I was forced to do it. But after that, I changed it back again. So there's a little trivia question for you as well there.
Very cool.
Hasn't sold any more copies, but
well, I love this kind of continuity because I do love the fact that the very first promo that I got, we've already got a logo and we've already got, you know, a mascot, and it continues right the way through. I mean, here's Atlantis.
Yeah.
And I love that fully formed kind of ideal. It's a lost art, isn't it?
It's continuity, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's Foolish are the band that don't get their branding right, because people forget it. It's like you've got to make a thing. Why does HMV and Tesco's and Sainsbury's, why do they have that same logo? If they alter it very slightly, but they get their branding right. And the Nike tick, Adidas 3 stripes, you recognize brands literally by a tick. That's genius. So we said we'll have a cat pod and we'll make sure the cat pod runs through everything, and it develops as it goes. But as we go on, people know that cat pod, or better still, we have fans wearing the t-shirts down the road and people stop them saying, what's that cat helmet thing? Gosh, now you've got new people asking what it is. They then tell them, they show them on Spotify, another fan. Yeah. So yeah, we've been quite smart with it from day one, and it's worked very well for us. It's a merchandise angle that does as well.
So Simon, I'm sure you got some stuff for Greg in relation to the songs and stuff. I mean, man, a lot of songs on this one, but all really engaging.
I've got lots of things for Greg, but before we delve into the songs, let's just have a look at the credits, shall we? Feel like we should. There's lots of thanks for lots of people, and one of us gets an actual physical name check. Yes, they do, Peter. And other people are Sea of Tranquility. That's because you don't know who we are, Greg, isn't it?
The next album, Simon. The next album.
I think that you two guys will be on the next album for sure. But I think it was done before you. I got bogged down. Sorry, guys. You will be on the next one, I promise. Yeah.
Simon, you're not meant to berate the guests.
Oh, sorry.
No, he's like. We get pulled up all the time by people. They love to pick holes, We get fans that are so engrossed in what we do. And I was like it as a kid. You look for the loophole, didn't you? You look for that mistake on the sleeve to see if you got something special. So it all goes with the job, But yeah, we will put you guys on next time. I do apologise.
People of our age, we're used to having product and going, oh, I'm going to play this record. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to look at all the lyrics. And then I'm going to put it back on again, and then I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. And who played that particular solo? Who wasn't on every track? All that kind of thing. That kind of minutiae certainly us kind of people is just fantastic. You know, I really regret the 10 years where I just went, physical product, fuck off. Let's do everything from iTunes and all that stuff. That's like the worst decision I've ever made. No, sorry, Stephen. Yeah. Or
Well,
Amazon.
you
They're
miss
all
it, don't you?
just as bad.
Devil's in the detail. You know, you miss that stuff. I mean, everything we do, I look at it from when I was 14. You know, and getting Kiss Destroyer, and it had the names of the band on the back, but you didn't know who was who. So for about 2 months, I was trying to work out. I thought Ace Frehley must be Gene Simmons because he had the coolest name, etc. You know, and then you kind of get into stuff, and you get like the Queen albums, and you read the credits for the George Formby ukulele, and you know John Deacon played Fender bass and that. And I used to soak all that stuff up. Then the Rush albums, you know. So I like to give as much info on the albums because, and also it's because we're proud of it. You know, I'm proud of the performances on the tracks. So we want to say who played what and who played Underwater Seabells and who played the 12 string and who did the slide guitar. And, you know, I think it's interesting for people to know that stuff because they can kind of get a full picture of, you know, how we kind of did it, you know, and it gets longer on every album because we use more stuff, you know.
I remember when I first brought home as a kid ELO Out of the Blue, the great double album from them. And I remember like going looking at the booklet on the inside, and where they started talking about all the instruments that everybody played, and like Richard Tandy played like a million different keyboards and synthesizers on that album. And they had, I mean, it was like a paragraph, and I'm like, holy crap, I never even heard of half this stuff. But that's like Simon mentioned, that's the cool minutia that us music nerds love. And when bands just don't even include any of that, you hear these things on the album, like, well, who did that? Who was playing that sitar? I don't know, but you guys take the time to tell us.
Was it even a sitar?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. We're like a nerds band, you know, in many ways, because what we do by default, it does have a lot of texture. So people want to go, what's that noise that happens at 2 minutes 37 on Bootleg Bandoleros? And I'm going, oh God, I have to play it back. You know, and it'd be like an underwater bell that we used in a stainless steel sink. So when they say we used the kitchen sink on this album, we actually did use the kitchen sink. And that is a great quote. A stainless steel kitchen sink was used, you know, with a set of handbells. I was striking them, then dropping them underwater, and then it goes down.
So where does that idea come from? This is a thing I've often wondered as someone that's never made an album in shock news. It's those things that you think that's what makes songs special, is those little quirks, the clever arrangements. But where does the idea come from?
Well, the short answer is Ian Capel, our engineer, has got years and years and years of experience back in the late 70s and the 80s when they had to trial stuff. You know, before the Fairlights came out and all the samplers came out, you had to invent sounds or go to the BBC Sounds Library. So that used to cost money. So they used to try and make things up. And I think over the years, people learn how things were done, like, you know, hitting pianos with spoons and all that kind of stuff. And of course, we spend a long, long time in the studio, and a lot of it is me and Ian Capel on our own, just talking like we're talking now, saying about that album there and that noise there. And he kind of finds out how it's done, and we go, we should try some weird stuff, you know. So when we did the Scarecrow album, God knows what I was doing, but I had the tubular bells set up. And as anyone will tell you, every album I will have the tubular bells set up just out of reach because I will hit them buggers as much as I can. I love it. It's my big thing. I love tubular bells more than anything on the planet. I just fucking love them. And so we did this thing in the studio one day, and I said, I can hear this noise. It goes down. I don't want to do it on a keyboard. I don't want to go and get a sample off of the internet. I want to make our own sounds like Queen would have done. And he went, I know, we get a tubular bell, we take it off the rack, we hold it up by the string, and we dangle it over a bucket of water. And as you hit it, drop it into the water, and the note would go ding, like that. And we tried it, and it was just the funniest. I wish we'd filmed it because I just couldn't do it. It was just ridiculous. And it didn't have the effect at all. Fast forward to last year, sitting around in the studio with stainless steel sink just over there. Same thing crops up. We want this kind of like ship's bell in the distance, this ghostly kind of like a really lame kind of ghostly bell. And rather than hitting a bell and chucking it in loads of reverb and making it sound distant, I said, no, let's try and do it. How can we do it? And he went, I've got these handbells, lovely set of handbells, a whole octave. So it's from the bottom, I think it's from a low B to a high B. Little hand things, you know, like Christmas, ding, ding, and you hold two up and you can make two notes at once. And we use them on about 2 or 3 tracks, actually. But for some bizarre reason, this bell, dropping it into a sink of water, worked. So we recorded me doing that. There's some pictures somewhere, I think. I'll put some up sometime. And it worked a treat. And because the stainless steel sink had this beautiful tang to it, when it went down, it had the echo. So we put a mic, a really expensive mic, perilously near the water, and turn the gain right up and the compression right up, and the ego right hits it. And you could literally hear my t-shirt rustle. It was that loud to try and record this noise. And we went down like that and quickly recorded it, cut the noise off at the either end of it. We had this funny sound. Then we put it through a reverb, and it gives this lovely distant sound that's on bootleg Bandoleros. Took us about 3 hours to do, and I just remember thinking, this is costing a fortune. And if
is it worth it for that little tiny segment, right?
I said, sorry, Dean, you've got 20 minutes to do your guitar solo. I spent 4 days doing bells going on. But we love it, and it makes magic. You know, our albums, if I dare say it, they make magic. There's magic in there. We don't use samples hardly ever. We use all our own stuff, you know, real sounds. The only thing we have to use is a dulcimer, because we haven't got a real dulcimer, but we will get one. And then we won't have to use a sample dulcimer. So yeah, we do make some wacky stuff.
So you were there with an actual theremin?
Yes.
And could I ask what's?
It was an electronic theremin. It wasn't a real theremin. It's an electronic one. So there's a little bit of jiggly pokery there. I don't think even I would dare to use a theremin. I think that's a push too far. But I'd love to try it. We went this electronic kind of digital thing, but it was still cool. It was still really cool.
Yeah. And what can I ask, Greg? What's the difference between a cowboy and a monster cowboy that's used? Cowbell that's used on the album.
A cowbell and a monster cowbell.
Yes, it's like huge.
He's got a selection of cowbells, and one of them is like the size of a
Of course
door.
he does.
Yeah, it's like Kong, Kong. So he needs to answer that question better than I, because he's very, very into that kind of thing. But he's got loads of percussive stuff. And we got wood blocks and chimes, and we got a little toy piano. We got all. When Ian Capel has a 5-minute break, he goes on eBay, he looks for wacky stuff, and everyone's selling stuff off cheap because nobody wants it. We buy it, and we'll get a sound out of it. So we had Andy Stewart sitting down at this toy piano. It's literally like the one on that what's that cartoon, Charlie Brown, when is it Linus sits down at that little piano.
Linus, yeah.
Yeah, we actually do that. That's the thing. Again, 2 mics over the top on this little ting tang piano. It's fantastic.
I can now picture him sitting on the floor.
Yeah, he sat cross-legged on the floor. I've got a photo somewhere down at Echo Zoo doing it with these 2 massive, great big mics on boom stands over the top of his head, and he's sitting there playing this little ting tang. We love it. You know, it's good stuff. And we play guitar too as well sometimes.
You would have to, right?
I guess so, yeah. A lot of them as well, yeah.
Can I ask, talking about guitars, more importantly, talking about pedal steel guitars, I noticed that BJ Cole's on the album. What happens there? Do you just ring up and say, hi, you're a bit of a legend in the music business, do you want to just come down? Or, you know, what goes on there?
That was, again, Ian Capel and his just kind of lovely kind of way of saying, I said, I want pedal steel on Kickstart the Sun and Goodbye to the American Dream. I said, and this time we're getting a pedal steel player. I'm not going to do this. You know, we're not going to skirt around the issue. So he said, I'll find someone. So we went onto this directory, and he was top of the shop, obviously being the legend that he is in the UK. And he went, I've got this guy, BJ Cole. I said, I'll message him if you like and see how much he charges. I went, and this is terrible. I've done this before, but it's terrible. I went, he sounds familiar, but I'm not 100% sure. He went, BJ Cole. Don't know who he. I said, he sounds familiar, but I can't. Nudge me. What's he done? He went, come and look at his Wikipedia page. Tiny Dancer. You know, all of that stuff in the 70s. Oh, the list is just endless, you know. And of course, the one in the middle, the Walker Brothers, No Regrets. I went, oh my God. one of my favourite songs of all time that we have actually recorded. BJ Cole played that pedal steel. I said, ask him, but we won't be able to afford him. So he messaged him because it was in lockdown still. He got back to us straight away and said, yeah, I can work remotely for you. What do you want doing? I said, well, I've got 3 tracks. And if you could give us a quote for 3 tracks, that'd be brilliant. I had a price in my head that I was prepared to pay, which I won't divulge, but I was going to break the bank on it. And I said, by the way, we've also done a version of No Regrets, which we're kind of still toying around with what we're going to do with it properly, because we've got to get real strings and stuff. And he came back, he said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. How about I do you these 3 tracks for that price plus VAT, and I'll do the No Regrets for you for free. I'll do it a pass of it. I mean, what? So the price he quoted me was like very favourable indeed. So I just said, book it, Dan. Book him. So he sent the tracks and he sent the stuff back. And I said to him, don't play me No Regrets until we've got the work done, because if I listen to that, I'm going to go to pieces. And I'm going to start thinking about that. So, he just sent us this most incredible pedal steel. I just couldn't take. He actually came down to our press launch day in Putney a few months ago, and I met him. And I just said, didn't know what to say. I was kind of like, he's quite an old guy now. I went, well, thank you. What can I say? Thank you. He went, oh, it's absolutely tremendous. Absolutely loved doing it. Yes, and if you ever do anything No Regrets, do let me know. La 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 la. And off he went. I mean, he's still recording now. He's an Oasis, Robbie Williams. I mean, it's incredible. So yeah, good old Ian Capel stuck his neck on the block, because I would never have approached him. I just wouldn't have gone there. So he who dares, isn't it? Again, really.
You gotta do, yeah. Very cool. To see Damian Edwards is settled right in on this album, right? I mean, he's part of the family now, right?
Different level.
Yeah.
Different level. Just that's all I can say. He's so quick in the studio. I mean, he will only sing a track no more than 3 times. You don't need to. Normally, the first track is usable. The second track, I'd just muck him about for a bit of a laugh to see if he can go even more mental. And then the third track, he goes, let me do one more of them, because I'll do this now. And that's all you need. And then we normally use 3/4 of one pass on the song. We very rarely chop it up and go in and out and pick different lines out, because he will say, no, I'll do it again. If that's the one you like, let me do it again. And he gets these wonderful live vocals on these tracks. It's astonishing. He's just a different level. He really is. And he's very at home, and he's had a big input on the lyrics. So there's that creative side that's coming out, and it's just wonderful to see. It really is.
Yeah, I was struck because, I mean, changing a singer in a band's a difficult thing to do, and more bands get it wrong than get it right. But I mean, his debut performance on Atlantis was outstanding. It was seamless. But I would say, I actually didn't know if it was possible. Never mind even expect him to kind of take it up a level. But I would suggest he has with this album, because it maybe is that creative input, is it?
Yeah, I mean, Damien is a very unique person. I mean, anybody that works with him and anybody you meet that has worked with Damien live, they'll tell you the same thing. He's the most lovely, unassuming fella. He really is just a lovely chap. And he's got this thing in his head that, I'm sorry, but he's a genius. I know people use that word a lot, but, he's like our Freddie Mercury or Steve Perry, where he can do anything. His range is astonishing. He emotes into the song. If especially it's one of his lyrics, he's coming from a different place, and on this album, we wanted to push him more and more, because I knew what he had in the tank. I've played with him live many times in my Supersonic show as well. And I've seen him some nights when he's really on it. And when he's on it, he's incredible. When he's really having a lovely time, I've seen him do ad-libs that are breathtaking. Like on We Are the Champions, for instance. He's as good as Adam Lambert on We Are the Champions. He really is. He's that good. And he's in our band, so marvellous, But Kickstart the Sun was the song that did it. We right early doors. I had this little piano front half of that song up to the guitar solo, just the verse, chorus. And I let it kicking around. I could hear in my head, this could be something really epic, but I just couldn't get a melody. I just could not do it. Apart from I had the Kickstart the Sun tagline. That's all I had. And the Kickstart the Sun line came from Stevie Baker, actually. He came up with that title. So I sang it to Damien. I said, look, I've just got this idea for a song. Can you do like a verse and the rest of the chorus and just come back with something? And he sent this piano track, just my piano and his vocal. And it literally blew my mind. I just thought, that's one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. That is just astonishing. And the minute he finished the second chorus, I knew where the next chord was going to go. I knew where the next bit was going to go, and I knew where the next bit was going to go because of what he'd done. And I think at that point, I thought, we're only tapping the surface with him. What else can he do? Then, of course, we went on to do other. He did Big Balloon and King of Stars and bits and bobs and stuff like that. He can take a vocal into the stratosphere. He really can.
Well, he sounds like he's really enjoying himself, for one. It comes across in the songs, and I got to tell you, I put a lot of stock in kicking off an album with a tremendous song, right? Because that's you gotta hook the listener in immediately. And you guys have the little intro, which is a lot of fun here. But man, King of Stars sets the stage for the whole album, and it sets the tone for the whole album. I mean, you guys picked the right song to start this record.
Yes, we did. It was I deliberated over the running order for a long, long time, more than I've done anything probably my whole life, actually, because I was having sleepless nights over it because it wasn't going to be a double album for a start. And I didn't know where King of Stars could go other than at the start of the album, and can we hold the listener for nigh on 8 minutes with the King of Stars, with the Kickstart intro, before they go, what are they doing? But I guess I was a little bit, I was lacking in confidence, thinking maybe I don't give our fans enough credit because they know what we're like now. They'd probably expect us to do something ridiculous on this album to say how we're going to beat Atlantis. And I thought, do you know what? King of Stars could be the thing that will kill them, or it will just engage them 100%. And touch wood, it worked, but it took. That running order didn't happen overnight. That took me a long, 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 long time to get it right. And I'm so pleased that it did it because I think it is right. But yeah, King of Stars is mad. We nearly put an edit in there at one point to try and give us half a chance. And then I said, we could always take out, we put the balalaika section, that that bit in the middle. I said, that could lose people. But we played it to a few people. Andy Kitson came back and said, Greg, that's like Kansas left overture. I went, right, standing. So that became the first track. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it.
I think any other band would have taken that song, or any 8-minute track and put it either in the middle or the end of the album and stick like Teenage Millionaires at first, because that's shorter, really catchy. But I give you guys a lot of credit for doing King of Stars. I think it works, even though it's long. It doesn't feel long at all, and it's very engaging.
Yeah, it's because it's it's almost like a musical piece in itself. It's like a theatrical production, that one song, which is why there's the talky bit about, man's next step going off to the sun. It's very theatrical. It's very Dennis DeYoung doing Paradise Theatre, that kind of vibe, And because we've got Kickstart and bootlegs, we had to go top, middle, and bottom. So it had to be that way to give the flow, build it up, break it down, get the ballads in there, so people go on this journey for 63 minutes. And it's not nothing clutters up against each other, because if you put the wrong song next to the wrong song, you lose the flow. So, yeah, I'm glad it worked. I'm really chuffed about it, actually.
It's one of the strengths for me. Sorry, Sam, on you go.
No, I cede to my Scottish friend. I can remember what I'm going to say.
I was just going to say it's one of the real strengths for me, because I mean you've basically answered one of the things that I put down. Because it's something we mention quite often on the show. I think going over kind of 45, 50 minutes is a bit of a risk. It's a bit of a gamble. You've got to have a lot to say to have an album that deserves to be around about that hour mark. There was a period in the 90s where it was a real millstone. Bands had a CD and they felt they need to fill it. Let's fill it. Let's put 17 songs on there. And they killed the 9 or 10 really good songs with 6 or 7 not so good. But what has impressed me most about this one is the journey. It does take you its highs and lows, the dynamics are there, but starting out the way it does, it gets you right on board. And you're involved in the album in that way. You're already part of the story because you're desperate to hear what comes next. And that is missing on a lot of music these days. Do you know? So, I mean, I take my hat off. There's not really a question there because it's just such a good observation. Was there a worry about going that long, about going over the kind of 45, 50, 60 minutes and saying, well, this is going to be a double album in terms of vinyl?
Yeah, I mean, God, yeah. I mean, it's an interesting point what you said about bands filling up a CD for 70 minutes back in the 90s. You know, you had the front 8 tracks, okay, but you can only say so much on an album if you're a sort of band like an AOR band or a rock band, because all you're going to do on the back 7 is repeat what you've done before. You're not going to stick them over on the next album. And of course, in the 70s, you had bands doing 35-minute albums like Van Halen, and, you know, Jailbreak was only about 37 minutes or whatever, you know. So back then, a double album was a double album, you know, and it was a huge risk. I was trying my best to get it into a single album to play it safe, but I didn't want to roll certain songs over to another album because I'm a very strong believer, and we all are as a band, as a collective, that we record a snapshot in time. So Kickstart the Sun has to be from its time to last further down the line. If you start holding songs over, I might not be in that vein in a year's time, and those songs that we've got hanging over I might never use, you know, because I won't be in that mood. I like to record songs that are of the now, so there's a buzz when you're recording them, then you get the buzz from the, you know, the players, you know, because I'm my own worst enemy for getting bored pretty quickly. And if I knew that I had to mix songs from now in 2 years' time, I wouldn't want to do it. Oh no, that's from then, you know. So yeah, in the end, I just said to Andy Stewart, funnily enough, because he's a very theatrical chap, and we just said, this album could be like a theatre production in a funny sort of way, because it's, you know, it's almost like 2 halves. You know, we'd have to flesh it out for a theatre show, but it is very much a 2-half album, but it's still, you know, bookends together. That's why we're so chuffed with it, because it does work on that level. You can play the second album and play it from Kickstart the Sun, and you can play that as a 2-sided album and it still works because you've got bootlegs at the end. Or you can play the first album and end it with, you know, Charlie's Ego, and you've still got an album. So it does work. Yeah, I'm really chuffed that it did work, because it could have gone wrong. Could have gone wrong. And a lot, dare I say it, you know, had I didn't think the songs were good enough. And again, I'm my own worst critic. If they weren't up to it, they're canned off. In fact, one other song did get canned off from making it another song on the album. So we just sat there and said, are all these songs on their own merit good enough for this album? Are there any weak links? And even like Hero, the little cheeky, you know, piano vocal ballad, has become a fan's favorite already. And that's the little kind of cheeky song on the album. That's a big song. So
that is, that's where I was going with the question when Stephen interrupted me. That is fucking brilliant. You know, I don't wish to blow smoke up your ass, but that is fantastic. That is so good. His voice is so pure. Oh, really is.
In fact, I was just talking to Ian today. We recorded the piano for Hero at Rack in London, and it's the most amazing piano that's recorded so many hits. It's untrue, and there's a magic in that room. So we did Hero at Rack, and Damien sang a vocal in Atlantis Studios, in Studios, which was astonishing. And I went, that's the quickest track on the album we're ever going to do by a mile. I did all the bells in the middle is me playing those kind of that spooky stuff to make it sound like the Corgis, because I wanted the Corgis vibe on it. Everybody's got to learn sometime. And then Damien said, now you've done that, I want to come back and redo the vocal. I want to take it up at the end, give it a bit more Don Henley. And that's what you hear, one take. So yet again, he's done it again. He did it on Seasons Change on Atlantis, and God knows he did it on Hero. That's one pass in the tin. And I think it's one of the best vocals I've ever heard in my life. You know, it's just, I love it. I love listening to Damien. I'm a fan. Yeah, I love listening to Dean, Jeff, Andy, Steve. I could listen to those guys all day long, not just because I'm trying to sell the band and some kind of PR stunt. I'm genuinely love listening to those guys play. You know, they're just amazing players. You know, I just sit at the back and just wave my arms about and tell them what to do, and then they do it better anyway. So it's great.
Goodbye to the American Dream. Fun
One
song.
for the yeah. Is that one of your favourites, Pete?
It's just fun, and it's interesting. I think, you know, some folks who live here in the U.S. will be, you know, wow, it's kind of interesting that a British band is singing about the American dream. But I mean, the words are very true, and it's a very engaging song, lots of fun. It's one of a few like favorites for me so far. But
Wow.
it's amazing how you guys have done such a great job of capturing the spirit of so many bands that really made it big here, regardless of where they were from, within sort of an American sound. And I think that song really captures that very accessible, melodic, hook-laden rock music that was so big here for so long. Sadly, that's kind of forgotten in mainstream music here, and probably over there as well, but definitely here for, you know.
It's only forgotten by the people that haven't got any sense. That's all. You know,
we haven't forgotten, right? Us old guys haven't forgotten. No, of course not. But yeah,
exactly. There's millions of us out there that still want to hear new songs that sound a bit like Boston or the Babies or Journey or Queen. Yeah, and that's what we're here for. You know, I don't make any bones about it. You know, I'm only going to write stuff that boils my egg, and what boils my egg are those bands, and I write like them. You know, Damien did all the words and melodies for the Goodbye. I had the hook. It's actually quite an old song that we put to one side. It's one of the few old songs that has come forward. But again, the minute he did the verse, and there's a little cheeky twist where you think he goes to the next verse and there's a lull, and it's like it's ending the verse. It doesn't happen again. And it's really, really clever. And when he played, I'm like, oh my God, have you chopped something out there? He said, no, I've kind of did a little bit, stopped, and then started again. I said, that's genius. That is really unique to do that. And the minute he sang that, I went, it's a monster. And then, of course, we got Lara and Emily to do those lovely transatlantic backing vocals on it. And it's, you know, it's a forgotten vibe, you know, that more people need to know about, you know, and, you know, it's not don't get me wrong, it's not a slight on America at all. It's actually about, you know, two people that went over there to make their dreams come true, and they realize that it's so hard, it's almost impossible to do. So they wave goodbye to it and give up, like unfortunately so many musicians do. You know, you try so hard, and then you grow up and get a real job. You know, some of us didn't. Some of us are still stupid.
Well, the old saying goes, if I can make it in the US, I can make it anywhere, right?
Exactly. I'm a star in New York, aren't I?
It's interesting you talking about those lyrics, though, because one of the things that I've always really liked about the band is the music's a huge amount of fun. You're along for the ride. There's hooks and there's melodies and there's, you know, those great bits you listen out for. And the lyrics are lots of fun too, but they're also really quite serious. You tackle lots of serious topics, but manage to do it in a really fun way. I mean, there's a bit at the start of Charlie's Ego, where there's even a reference to Beano or the Dandy with there's numbskulls living inside his head, pull levers and switches. And it takes me to a time and a place, because you can immediately relate, because, well, that's my era too.
Takes you back. Yeah, takes you back to the day. You know, this is the thing. I think a lot of people, you know, when they're writing songs, sometimes they try and do it from too many perspectives. You know, they're thinking of like radio, or they're thinking of it has to be a certain way. I don't do that. I literally write my songs like I'm down the pub talking about this stuff to my mates and having a laugh and thinking, well, you know, and come up with these funny slang words or just funny things, you know. And that's what I put into the songs that I write, because I think, well, if we found that funny and there's some mileage in it, surely other people might get that as well, you know. And if you're referencing HR Puff and stuff and the Beano and Witchy Poo and that, what's wrong with that? And the thing is, you know, years ago, oh, you're stupid, you can't do it, that's not very cool. I said, yeah, but nowadays, since Cats in Space has formed and we do these kind of songs, it's the thing that hooks people in. we reel them in by mentioning HR Puff and stuff, or Jack Wilde or whatever, and they want to know what's that all about. I said, well, do you like that? Is that, you know, is that good for you? And they go, yeah, it takes me back, takes me back. It's all about making you have that fuzzy feeling inside, and it makes people smile, which is when we do these like festivals in front of all these hard-nosed, tankard swilling metal fans that say, go, this is that band with a stupid bloody name. Oh God, it's going to be all jazz hands. And I think, yeah, it is jazz hands, mate. But I tell you what, you're smiling as we do it. And by the end, they hear some serious guitar soloing going off and some serious drumming and singing. They go, you've just got to like them. You can't knock them. You know, you can try, but you know, you can't. You know, what's wrong with a bit of fun in the world? We need to lighten up, for God's sake. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I let all the other bands be serious and deal with the shed building, detuned heavy metal. You know, it's just not where I'm at. If I want to listen to heavy metal, I'll just play old Judas Priest. You know, done, and not detuned. I can't stand detuned guitars. Just think it sounds shit. There you go, folks. It's a dirge, and they're like all trying to be serious. And oh God, you know, we can't smile because that's not rock. Yes, it bloody well is. Look at Dave Lee Roth; he's the master. Look at Freddie Mercury; he's the master. They didn't go around doom and glooming it every day. They had a bloody good time. Yeah. You know, long live Jack Wilde, I say.
Simon.
I'm assuming that Jack Wilde it's a reference to the Artful Dodger.
Yeah.
Because when I listened to that, I went, I get it. I'm really clever, aren't I? Good.
Yeah.
He's been dead for ages, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was with the Artful Dodger. Basically, he's a pickpocket, but he was a lovable rogue. You know, back in the day when kids were, you know, they'd knock a Bobby's hat off and run down the road, sticking their fingers up at him for a dare. And it was harmless fun, and the cop would give him a clip round the ear if he caught him. Nowadays, you do it and someone will stab you. You know, it's like, so we just, again, it's, think of the Artful Dodger and you know, Oliver Twist, and what a wonderful film that was. You know, what a piece of genius. And you can't help but think, oh, look, he's just nicked that bloke's wallet, you know, and you laugh, you know, you find it funny, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we referenced him, you know, on the album. Not sure where he started off from, but of course, Witchy Poo and the Narnia and Scarecrow, it all comes from our crazy kind of childish minds, if you like. But yeah, like to bring up your point again, Steve, there is a dark side to the lyrics, and there is a very deep kind of heaviness to some of them, because I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory brain on some certain things, and I do get really cross with stuff, but you can only do so much of it. You know, Poke the Witch is a classic example. It's a very serious song. Yep. And it really, there's some serious lines in there if you want to dig deep. But I've said it from a jovial, down the pub mentality, like saying, oh yeah, that lot, yeah, they ended up having to roll their sleeves up and have the injection, giving it large, saying, oh, I'm not going to be jabbed. I know musicians that were doing all that, and the minute they couldn't go abroad without getting jabbed, they went and got jabbed. So they want to go and play their instruments, you know. So it comes from that perspective as well. Serious subject, people died, blah blah blah.
This might seem weird, but I sometimes think of Cats in Space as kind of like a classic rock kind of ABBA, because there's that kind of like, oh fucking hell, what's he saying there? Listen to that song. Yeah, you know, there's that kind of like sense of ennui, and yeah, look at that melody.
Yeah, again, I'm a big believer of, and I love songs that when you get a really good hook or a really good melodic line, but you can't quite work out what you said. And I love using weird words, but the words will still scat when you sing them. Some words don't work full stop. But I do love, as Mick Wilson says, oh no, not another song about clowns or scarecrows or witches, you know. I said, yeah, but I like all the words that you can use when you sing a song about a scarecrow or a clown. You know, it's a bit like Ronnie Dio, isn't it? The Demons and Wizards thing. You know, there's a lot of great words you can tie up into a lyric that sound good, rather than just saying, hey man, Tokyo Nights, you know, thunder or whatever. You know, it's just using all the cliches. We try and use different stuff. Jack Wilde Boys, I think, is a genius line that Stevie wrote for that song, and I just loved it. I went, mate, in fact, the song, I wanted the song to be called Jack Wilde Boys, and he insisted that it was called Teenage Millionaires. But it was going to be called Jack Wilde Boys, right my way. In fact, one draft of the album sleeve, I did put Jack Wilde Boys on the back. He went, no. Change that to Teenage Millionaires. All right.
So now that the album is out and you guys are playing, live again, how hard is it to come up with a set list when you guys have so many great, engaging songs that I'm sure must go over a storm live, but you only have X amount of time to play on stage? Or are you guys gonna do like what Dream Theater used to do, is they would go out every tour, every date would have a different set list? So you guys haven't been around that long, but you got now a handful of albums and a lot of great songs. So how difficult is it to say, all right, here's what we're going to do on this tour? This is the set list.
It's going to be very, very, very hard indeed. We've worked a core set out. Last week we did some VIP shows and we changed the middle bit around. We did some old stuff, some good old like Man the Moon stuff, which is really cool. The problem we've got, it's a nice problem to have, but it's a problem, is that we found that we've got several epics on each album that are identifiable to that album. So if we want to represent Atlantis, we've got to play the song Atlantis, apart from For That Love of Rock and Roll, which is that's a staple song now. So if we do Atlantis, it's very similar to Kickstart the Sun because it's a similar vibe. So it's how many we can do. So we're going to keep it fairly tight for the tour that's coming up for the rest of the year. And then next year, we've already got plans to take the show into theatres. So next year, you're going to see a different approach and we're going to put our balls on the line. We was told not to do it years ago by our old management, but since then, we've come to realise that we don't fit in with the usual rock remit. We know that now. We just accept it. So we're going to do our own thing by taking the show into theatres, and we're going to do a 2-hour theatre show with a break, and we're going to ram it. We're going to ram it and give the biggest value for money production you're going to ever see in the theatre. And that way we can cram all the songs in. We won't be able to do too many shows on the spin because of vocally it'll be very challenging. But that's the plan for next year. We're already making moves to do that. So yeah, there'll be all the big songs will be in there, So it's it's a hard one to do. We might have a floating bit on this tour. We might do a bit some nights where we might change a couple of songs around, but it's hard to do, to be fair. You've got to put Hero has got to come in. You've got to do bootlegs. You've got to do the singles. I'm dreading King of Stars. I mean, God knows if we're going to do that one, but phew. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. But next year,
you guys are in a good position, though, and I'll tell you why. Because again, you've only been a band for a short span of time in the grand scheme of things. You've got an audience that buys all of your records. Okay, I think compared to like a long-standing band, I'll use Journey as an example. So Journey's got to go out when they tour. They got to play the same dozen songs every single night, and they have a brand new album out. Only the most hardcore Journey fans have probably actually bought that. So none of the other 80% of the people that are going to go see Journey give a shit about any of the songs from the new album, even though Journey probably would love to play 3 or 4 songs on the album. They're not going to. You may get 1 or 2. Whereas I think you guys know that if you're going out on tour tomorrow, 90% or more of the people who are going to see your show already have this, already know the songs, and are expecting a good amount of songs in the set. That's got to feel good, though.
It's superb because, like you said, if we were 20 years down the line, we would have probably done all our albums by now, and we would have culled all the songs that we know work live. But we do have this kind of position where there's certain songs that we have to do already, like God's Thunder in the Night, Greatest Story Never Told, September Rain, all that kind of stuff. We have to do certain songs, but there's a hell of a lot of floaters that we can do. So we are in an enviable position. I feel sorry for bands like, I don't feel, not financially, of course, because they're multi-millionaires, but bands like Journey and Kiss, you try and sneak a new song in, it's pizza time, isn't it? Yeah. No one wants it. It could be the best song they've ever done, but it ain't Ask the Lonely or Who's Crying Now, and we need those songs in. So, yeah, we are quite lucky. It's a bit of a weird position. So, long may it continue. We can move things around and get away with it still. I think there'll come a time where it will settle a little bit, but all the time we're writing albums and we're going to bring stuff out. I mean, we're not going to take our foot off the gas anytime soon. The next album's already planned. It's totally planned already. Yeah. We know exactly what we're doing. and that will be scheduled in. So we're always got like a 3-year window in front of us, if you like. So yeah, we'll just cram as many songs in as we can.
Cool. Sounds good. I'll let my two colleagues take us out with any other questions they might have for you. So I'll keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I've got a very, very serious question, Greg. On the night that you're playing Bury Met, I'm coming back from Florence. So could you just not kick off until I get there? Thank you.
Yes, we can. We'll go on. What time are you planning to be there?
I mean, I should be there for 8, but just in case things go to
Oh no,
shit.
you'll be laughing. We won't be on until 9:15. 9:15 we'll be on, probably, something like that. We've got brilliant Matt Mitchell playing with us on the tour. He's fantastic, and he's got a new album out. And Matt's a good mate of mine. We go back a long way, and he kind of got a bum steer on the last tour we did because some of the dates got moved, and I don't think he got a fair crack. So that's why we've invited him along to do this one, to give him a good run with his new album. So yeah, we'll wait for you to turn up, Simon, and
might we see a rare Simon Bray guest appearance on backing vocals on one of his favorite Cats in Space songs that night? And if so, someone watching who's there, please get it on video, because I love to see it.
Only if it's 51 Pillow Bed, because I keep walking around Asda and other places like that singing it. So there must be people videoing me somewhere, while I'm doing that.
Absolutely. Well, don't you think? I got to a point in life where I thought, it's about time in rock and roll someone wrote a song about soft furnishings.
Absolutely.
It needed to be done. It needed to be done. One for all the girls that laid in their beds with too many pillows. It's like, why do you put them on the bed in the morning and at night kick them all off? What's the bloody point of that? Don't get me started on that. But it's a great song, though, isn't it, Simon? It's one of my favourite songs, Dave. Yeah. I really love, and the production on that has come out a treat, because I've got this little secret weapon that I do on the guitars now that makes a really big, nice, jangly sound, and we'll be doing a lot more of that. It's fabulous. But yeah, one of my favourite songs on the album, actually, 51 is.
Excellent.
What are your favourite songs, guys? Tell me what your favourite songs are.
I've just told you mine. I'm fairly obsessed. This morning, sorry. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, this morning I kept, because the vinyl came either yesterday or the day before, and I was doing something in my man cave this morning, and just don't look at me like that, Stephen. I know you're there. And I kept pulling it back, which is this, because I really like Charlie's Ego as well.
Yeah, great.
But I did think, 51. But it's one of those songs that you think, I've got to read that again. I've got to, and again, and again.
It's fun. It's fun, isn't it? We need fun. We need fun in the world.
Exactly.
Too much crap going on. What about you, Stephen? What's your favourite song?
I haven't got a question, because I'm liking so much of it. Poke the Witch is fantastic. Really like that. Peter's mentioned Goodbye to the American Dream. Really like that. I really like Bootleg Bandoleros as well. That is such a great way to kind of lead ourselves out of the album. It's so good. Love it.
That's the correct answer, by the way. That Kickstart the Sun. The two. I think, because I see it from a production and a different angle to people. Depending what their kind of flavour is, but the work that went into those two songs and the way that they turned out was beyond my wildest dreams. Whereas most songs, we get them to the winning line and I'm well chuffed with them. These two went beyond that, and we were still running with it, going, "Oh my God, what are we doing now?" So they're very, very, very special. They're the two most accomplished songs I've ever written by far, to be fair. Apart from, up there is obviously Greatest Story Never Told. But yes, and is yours? Is yours Goodbye to the American Dream? Is it then?
It's hard. It's hard. While you guys were talking, I'm sitting there looking over the track list. And I'm like, all right, could I pinpoint one? How about I give you 3? All right.
Yeah, 3's good.
I think King of Stars, Teenage Millionaires, and probably Bootleg Bandoleros, I think, followed very closely by Goodbye to the American Dream and Kickstart the Sun. I know. All right. I gave you a myriad of choices. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been able to pinpoint a favorite yet, because I don't know. I mean, the one that I'm always walking around the house singing is Teenage Millionaires. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's just, that's got a
Big
hook.
song.
I mean, that's, bands wish they could write a hook like that. Greg, the last time we talked, I think I told you, I said, if we were to turn back the clock to like 1982, half of this shit would be all over the radio here in the US. I mean, it's.
I know, it would be. Well, we're trying. We got a guy. I've got a friend of mine called John Barr out in Las Vegas who runs a Toyota, the biggest Toyota franchise in Vegas, and he has gone berserk over the band to such a degree. He's now got hold of Eddie Trunk, who he knows. If you ever check out Las Vegas, John Barr's a bit of a character. He does adverts and stuff. He's quite well known. He's a real go-getter, and he is kicking our ass out in Vegas as we speak. So I will not rest until our band comes out to Vegas and starts ramming our music down to the Americans. Because I was out there a few months ago watching Cheap Trick, and I saw that audience, and every single one of them is a Cats in Space fan to be had. And I'm coming. We've got Germany to conquer, Australia to conquer, USA to conquer, and I won't stop till we do it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys open it up for like Foreigner or Journey or Cheap Trick or any of these bands. I mean, it's just no brainer.
We'd kill it. Imagine if we got a gig with Styx in America. We'd kill it, man.
I mean, Styx and REO. I'm going to see Styx and REO Speedwagon in a couple of weeks here in New York, and they got Loverboy as the third band on the bill, which it's fine. But man, you guys would be the best third band on that bill. Killer.
Yeah. We'll come out there. We've all agreed that we will fund ourselves to get out there, because we know if you stick us on a stage in America, we'll kill it. And we'll convert. We will convert. Everyone says that when we play with Deep Purple, Bonnie Tyler, Status Quo, but quite diverse bands, we converted their audience every single night. And Quo fans are blooming hard to convert. And the biggest influx of fans we ever got was off the Quo tour. Again, people that shouldn't really like us, but they went, "You're just too good not to like," So, yeah, we will hell bent on coming out there, man. These songs need to be out there in America and Australia and Germany, and we're spending a lot of money on PR these days, far more than we can afford. But we're pushing. Now we are literally bankrolling this band to the point of, well, if we don't do it now, we're never going to do it. We've only got one shot at it. I'm only going to waste some money on beer otherwise, so you might as well stick it into the band and hope for the best. And it's working, but I always say it's like pushing soot uphill. It's really tough to do. But we're getting there bit by bit. And you guys, your kind of support is so important to us, and it's so appreciated. It does make a difference. It really does. So these things are our lifeblood to get out to America and USA and Germany, etc. So yeah.
Well, Greg, we're going to have thousands of people watching this show because they watch it every single week. They take up part of the Saturdays. So what do you have to say to all the Sea of Tranquility viewers who maybe have not yet checked out Cats in Space, about the new album, where they can get it, and why it's so important for them to go and listen to this album?
Why haven't you, all you Sea of Tranquility fans, why have you not heard of us? But if you haven't, listen to these guys. I say one thing, but these three guys are the ones you need to listen to. And if you want to come on board, check out Cats in Space. You can find us on YouTube. You can go to catsinspace.co.uk, where there's a whole cornucopia of merchandise. Our new album, Kickstart the Sun's out now, and it's available. And if you like quality classic rock, we're the band for you. And come and see us live, because we do it live and we'll smash the bass in.
Absolutely. So Simon, when is the show that you're going to see?
All right.
When's the Cats in Space show that you're going to see?
I think it's something like the 28th, 29th of October. So it will be just after my birthday.
There you go.
Yeah.
We did it especially for you, Simon.
He's a lucky guy, isn't he, Stephen? He's a lucky guy.
He's a very lucky guy. Yeah, I don't actually think there's a Scottish date on this leg of the tour. I'm just putting that out.
There will be next year, though, when we do the theatres, Steve.
Excellent.
Next year we're going to do. What
I was going to say, because you're talking about listening to us, that in itself is, I mean, what more could make more sense than listening to us Okay, but seriously, I mean, I don't think Peter has yet, but there are now 3 reviews for the album on the webzine. One from myself, one from Simon, and one from Malcolm, who has joined us recently. And you've got 3 5 out of 5 star reviews, and that it's not glad handing, it's not blowing smoke. It is, we are honest on the site, and if we don't like something, we say we don't like something. So that, I must admit, if you look through the reviews on the site, is remarkably rare. So there you go.
That's
people.
fantastic. Fantastic. Well, we've had a lot of reviews that we've seen elsewhere as well that have literally stunned us. You know, it's almost like I've written it myself. You know, it's crazy. The guy Scott in Sentinel in America, in Australia, his review is just outstanding. You know, and these things matter. You know, they do matter, and they matter a great deal to us because it means a lot to us. You know, and everyone's like, oh, I don't read reviews, only because they're normally getting shit ones. When you're getting good reviews, you love them. Trust me. And we just love it. And every album we do, we think this might be the one where they go, maybe the worms turned against us, because you're waiting for the hacks to pick holes in you. You know, it's the nature of the beast. But we just seem to keep going up, and like classic rock and all those places, they really root for us. And I think it's because it's almost like we're not really part of the game. It's like, yeah, we love Cats in Space because they're kind of where we used to be when we were growing up, and they're our little kind of, you know, thing back to the old days. So we're kind of separate in a funny way, and it works.
Yep.
You know, maybe we've struck a real kind of, you know, a thing here that matters. I don't know.
Yeah, I've yet to come across somebody who says, oh, Cats in Space, yeah, they're all right. The people who have heard you and are into this type of music,
they're wrong. They say
I haven't heard anyone say that. The people who have heard the music and are into this style, they're on board. And that's
perfect example, Steven. One of our colleagues on In the Prog Seat here on the channel, Ken Golden, we were talking amongst ourselves yesterday, and Cats in Space came up, and he made a reference to a couple of other bands that are out there that kind of do a similar type thing. And he said, yeah, that stuff doesn't really do it to me. And it's not necessarily what I normally listen to, but these guys are the best at doing this sort of thing by far. And it's not even close.
Oh, wow.
That's not a ringing endorsement. I don't know what it is, right? So.
Oh, that's fantastic. That stuff really means a lot to us, because when you're appreciated by people that don't necessarily like our kind of thing, but they understand it, it means a lot, you know, because, you know, you can find Kiss and Judas Priest and Saxon in our music if you dig deep enough, because at the end of the day, I'm a rock guitar player. I just happen to love Donna Summer and the Carpenters as well, you know. So when you get people that get it, it's because they've got the knowledge to understand how they got it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. You know, they can go, well, you know, you can't compare us to Dream Theater, you can't compare us to Rush, you know, we're not like that at all, but you can compare us to a lot of other bands. So it's really cool when people actually have the, dare I say it, the intelligence to know why we are what we are, you know, because there's a lot of thought goes into it. You know, it's not all about Teenage Millionaires and doing the kind of glam rocky stuff. There's a lot of depth to it as well. So it's great to be appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could get Steven and Simon to hold up their wonderful copies one more time before we say goodbye to everybody here, just so you guys, for those who joined late, take a gander at this artwork on this glorious album. Look at that. Kickstart the Sun, available now anywhere you can buy your music. Look at that. Andy, my friend, you have outdone yourself. Woo.
He has. He's absolutely. I mean, again, when you look at the album, it takes you there. You're ready for the album by looking at the artwork. Like Rush, you know, you get the album, you look at the artwork, and you go, "I'm all ready for the album now." Farewell to Kings or something like that, you know. And that's what we try and do. We set. It's like a theatre thing. You know, you see the drapes before the show. You see the pictures, then the show starts, and that's what it's all about. You know, and that's. Go and buy a copy from catsinspace.co.uk or HMV, who've got the exclusive grey vinyl. You can go and get a copy there. EMP, the clothing line on in Germany, they're now stocking the album, which is brilliant. That's a huge site. EMP is. Maybe they're selling it because I wear their clothing all the time. I don't know, but yeah, it's we're getting out there slowly, gents. We're getting out there, you know.
Cool. Well, we'll do all we can to help you. So everybody watching, wherever you might be, go out and order your copy of Kickstart the Sun. If you live in the UK, get your tickets to one of the handful of shows that they're doing in the very near future. And hopefully we can get to see you guys here in the US. That would be absolutely wonderful. So Greg, thanks so much for spending some time with us here once again on the UK Connection here on Sea of Tranquility. Whenever you want to come back, we'd be happy to have you.
I'm always happy to come back. It's a pleasure to see you guys. And again, thanks ever so much for your support. It really means a lot to us. And your comments are very, very important and valid, and hopefully impressionable and all your good listeners out there. So keep it real, people. See you again soon.
Greg. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So thanks for watching, everybody, this very special edition of the UK Connection. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time.
All of it.
For Greg Hart, Simon Bray, and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. See you next Saturday here on the UK Connection, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye now.